So for all the financial math we've been doing, you should be thinking about sort of how that affects you in terms of your own expenses and your own way of dealing with money. And that kind of boils down to the idea of personal budgeting. So budgeting is really all about planning how to spend and how to save your money to either purchase what you want to purchase, get the loans you want, mortgages, things like that, in order to find sort of that balanced budget based on what you have coming in and what you have going out. So tracking your expenses is really important in helping overspending and managing your money. It's helpful to have good credit score, pay bills on time, save money, keep your debt low. So all part of sort of financial management in your own personal way is creating a budget and thinking about a budget that works for you. So just a few sort of terms again about parts of a budget. The first one is the idea of income. So that's your net pay versus your gross. So that's basically, if you think about how much you bring home after taxes and other deductions. So there is a lot of, for example, on paychecks, so standard federal and provincial taxes. There's CPP, Canadian Pension Plan, EI, so employment insurance. That often affects how much you're bringing home as in after taxes. So similarly, if you're part of a union, you might have union deductions and things like that. So your income is really what you bring home after all that's paid off. And then the other parts of your budget are your expenses, and there's basically two types of expenses. So you have your fixed expenses, so those that stay relatively the same each month, mortgage or rent, car payments, car insurance, cell phone, things like that that you pay every month or on a sort of a different timeline. Variable expenses are expenses that are different each month. So how much you potentially spend on food or entertainment or gifts or things that potentially happen unexpectedly, or if something happens to your car and you have to pay for that. So these are the ones that are different each month that you may or may not spend depending on the month that you're in. And another component of budget is your savings or your retirement. So you ideally would like to have an emergency savings plan where 3 to 6 of your total monthly expenses is saved. So to have that sort of as a backup, so 3 to 6 months. Hopefully that you have that sort of in a saving environment would be your ideal goal for a budget. TFSA or RRSPs are long-term savings, looking at creating a long-term financial plan for your retirement. Depending on your organization, you might have a different retirement plan based on that. So it's sort of the idea around this part of the module is to sort of think about your own financial situation and how that affects your budget. So setting the budget is only really the first stage. You want to make sure that you're checking it and sticking to it. So you should be doing some kind of financial analysis on yourself on a monthly basis, for example. So there's lots of options. So there's lots of apps or programs, pre-made spreadsheets, lots of support out there for sort of financial management. So here are a couple links if you want to take a look at sort of financial or budgeting side of things. So certainly something to reflect on in this course and at this end of the course when you're looking at doing financial math. How does that affect your own personal finances?